Welcome, everybody. It's time once again to another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio. Grab your board. We're going to catch the latest wave in sales pipeline growth and development with Matt Hines.
How are we doing, Paul?
Okay. You know, all these months, I've been trying to put some superlative in front of your name, and I realize it's unnecessary. You just say Matt Hines, and that says it all.
Just go with Matt Hines. It's simple. It's
powerful.
Less syllables. It's my family raised me in the Midwest. I try to be a humble guy, so Matt Hines works just great.
Okay.
Paul, are you wearing a sweater today?
I kind of am, because we're having unusually cloudy and drizzly weather here, and we're just depressed. We're ready to just move. It's awful.
You poor Southern Californians. It's terrible.
You know, people don't even come in when it rains. I mean, this is not a joke. They just stay home. The heck with it.
Don't go outside. Just stay inside. Oh, man. Well, welcome to Sales Pipeline Radio, everyone, from what is today a little drizzly Seattle as well. We have finally, I believe, entered Seattle weather here in Seattle. Today's the first day of rain after about a couple of weeks of just really, really nice weather up here. But excited to have everyone joining us again on Sales Pipeline Radio. We are here every Thursday live at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific. Our job is to bring you some of the best voices and minds and insights in B2B sales and marketing. Today, I'm really, really excited to have with us Morgan Ingram. He is a sales development manager at Terminus, which is a fantastic, fast-growing B2B sales and marketing startup focused on account-based marketing. And Morgan is also the host of the SDR Chronicles, and we'll have to talk a little bit about what that is and how you can check out a little more if you're in inside sales, if you're a sales development rep, if you're managing inside sales and SDR reps. This is definitely something you're going to want to check out. But first and foremost, Morgan, thanks so much for joining us on Sales Pipeline Radio today.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. Sorry for the journey road in California, Paul. But, yeah, I'm super excited to be here on the show and to provide you guys some valuable insight.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining. You know, we are big fans of Terminus, big fans of the Flip My Funnel movement that you guys have really evangelized. And, you know, you caught my eye, almost a year ago when you started the SDR Chronicles. And, you know, you are the host, and this is a series of basically video casts that cover a wide variety of best practices and insights and ideas around inside sales. Talk a little about, SDR Chronicles. How did that come about? Why did you decide to start that? And what can people look forward to when they check it out?
Yeah, so there was a lot of reasons, Matt. You know, the number one thing is I know you guys, people are probably listening, are very familiar with Ralph Barcy, global kind of sales development leader over at ServiceNow. Talks a lot about sales development. Before I started here at Terminus, I read an article on getting out of obscurity. And one thing in that article that really caught my eye, he was saying that, hey, if you're an SDR, you should start a YouTube channel and talk about everything that you do. And so I was like, no one has done this. And so I literally sent him a Twitter video. To this day, I still have that tweet. And I sent it to him, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be the person who's going to start this YouTube channel. Look out for it. And he kind of was like, okay, looking forward to it. And then 3 months later, I met him at Rainmaker event out of Atlanta, sales off event. And he was like, hey, have you started it yet? And I was like, no, I haven't. And he was like, all right, I guess I'm not going to see it, right? Then that kind of motivated me to be like, I need to do this. So it kind of was inspired upon, there was just no sales development leader or sales development rep in general making content about sales development, getting in the practicality, the weeds, the insights, the valuable things that you actually get while you're being in the role. So I knew that, hey, look, I need to create my own resources for this, because before I joined Terminus, there really wasn't that much content from an SDR sales development leader talking about what's going on in the trenches. And so the insights and the value that you're going to get from this is that, hey, it's just me, from the beginning, when I was just telling people, hey, this is what I'm doing, I'm seeing success. You're going to see awesome templates on emails that I've done, objections, how I handle them, motivation, advice from other top sales leaders and sales development practitioners. And you're really just going to get really motivated and fired up that, that there's somebody who's done the role just like you. And I'm kind of telling you guys the success, even the failures that I had. And it's really been kind of motivating to kind of see how far it's gone.
I love it. I mean, you've done such a great job. You cover so many different topics as well. I mean, you're covering, how to set demos, how to convert appointments, how to keep a steady mindset. I mean, you've really addressed a lot of different topics. Where do you get your editorial calendar? I mean, I think you are an active SDR manager yourself. You've played the role. You've had, you've been a card-carrying SDR, setting appointments and following up with leads. Is your experience sort of every day at Terminus part of your motivation, or where else do you get some of the ideas for your episodes?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I get my ideas a lot from just stuff that I just did. So I just documented a lot of stuff. Like, I would be like, hey, look, like, this is how you organize your calendar, and like, that's how my calendar was organized. Or like, this is how you lead a one-on-one, and like, that's how I lead my one-on-ones. Like, if you had a camera on me, or hey, look, this is how you handle objections. Like, on all my calls, that's how I handle the objections. So I just took a lot of topics in my head that were like, all right, this is stuff I deal with every single day, and I see it on LinkedIn, people saying, how do I do this? And I just said, hey, that's a topic. Throughout the times I continuously made the videos, people were coming to me being like, hey, you need to do a video on this. You need to do a video on this. Like, I'd love to hear more about this. Like, how do you deal with this? So I used those questions that people were asking me, and I would kind of talk to them about 10 minutes on the phone about it. I'd be like, let me make a video about it. And also, like, there were people that I interview, and I asked them, like, hey, look, what are you the most passionate about? And I found out that, like, not only is that topic going to be fantastic because they're excited about it, it's also going to be something different because every single person has a different passion or a different type of fire that's driving them and a problem that they want to solve. And so that's kind of how I got my topics. I would say a lot of it really was from just me being in the role as an SDR manager currently, and as an SDR, I would even add in blog posts. I got a lot of ideas from that people, they wrote a blog post on something, but it's like, hey, I want talk about that through video, through my own experience, and a lot of it comes from just the people I was interviewing. They had things that they were super fired up about that no one was really talking about.
Excited today to have on Sales Pipeline Radio Morgan Ingram, who is a manager of sales development at Terminus in Atlanta and also the host of the SDR Chronicles. Definitely encourage you to check it out. You can find it on Twitter through the hashtag, just hashtag the SDR Chronicles. If you go to YouTube and type in SDR Chronicles, you will find it there as well. I love your story. I love your initiative you've taken on this. Definitely, smart dude, man. You're a SEC alum. You've got multiple degrees. You got finance, business administration, sports management. What motivated you to get into sales, given your background and the things you've done, and what excites you about sales as someone who's still, fairly early in their career?
Yeah, so I got a double major in sports management and finance, so that is correct. And, I really, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be in sports, but then I realized, dang, that I didn't grow tall enough to be in the NBA. So then I was like, all right, like, what's the next best thing to be in sports? And I was like, I think I can be a sports agent, all the sports agent movies, Show Me the Money, all that stuff, Jim McGuire. So I really wanted to be that. So I read a lot of books on it. I talked to a lot of professionals and sports agents. I really thought that was where I was going to go. But it just so happened that they told me how to get a law degree after I graduated, and I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. So I kind of just, declined that. But after that, I was like, what's next? So I knew that, I wanted to be around like-minded individuals. I wanted to learn more about tech. I wanted to learn more about the future and the progression of that. And so the Atlanta Tech Village, for those of you who have been to Atlanta or have heard of it, is just an innovation hub out of Atlanta in the city of Buckhead. And so my friend told me about the startup village that was in Atlanta Tech Village. I went, and it was really incredible. I met a lot of great people. And somebody I met there told me, hey, look, you need to go interview with one of these tech companies. And I was like, I have no idea what that even means. I don't know what a CRM is or market automation. I don't know what's happening, right? So someone told me that, hey, look, you need to go to Terminus. They just got invested like $7 million. I didn't even know what that even meant. A Series A. I was like, that obviously sounds good. They're getting money. So so some of you also familiar with Matt knows Tony Bennett. I cold called her, and that's how I got the opportunity for the SDR. And my whole emphasis, my preface was that I knew that the SDR role would actually help me learn more about tech than anything else. It helped me learn more about sales than anything else, and actually be learning more even about account-based marketing, because I'd be on the front lines and learning from marketers and from professionals, and I have really good coaches at the end of the day. So I knew that sales was something I wanted to get into, and the reason why I love sales is because you don't really know sometimes what you're going to get into, and it's an ongoing puzzle. and I love solving problems. I love being on the go. I love being able to adjust and just have the instinct to be great. And so that's what sales has really taught me, is that like it really is a puzzle. You have to be learning every single day, and it really is, you have to like just solve things on the go, and that's what really excites me.
So what have you learned now, or what are some of your takeaways that you can give to others as you moved from being sort of a frontline SDR to managing sales development within the organization? I mean, you moved pretty quickly in the organization. You were, a team lead for the SDRs for about a year, and then earlier this year became manager of sales development within Terminus. What have you learned from being on the front lines, and how has that prepared you to now manage other SDRs who are doing that job today?
Yeah, so the very first thing I learned is that, no one really cares about what you're saying, right? That's what I learned real quick. Like, you could think that you're selling the best thing in the world, but no one really cares about that. What they really care about is like, how is your solution going to help them be better? How's your solution going to help their business grow? And so that's something that I learned over time, is that now I know everything about the product, obviously, but I have to understand about their business. And once I realized that, like, okay, I can learn how to read a LinkedIn profile and learn that, hey, this person's dealing with these type of strategies, this is what they're trying to accomplish, I realized that that was the puzzle piece that I wasn't looking at. And so I was able to find, hey, look, with Terminus, you're going to be able to do X and X for your company, and it's going to help you grow this exponential growth, right? And so from that, I really did realize that, like, it really wasn't about me. It was about them every single time. And so I think what happens with a lot of SDRs as they get into the role, they're like, dang, like, I just want to kind of only focus on, like, my product and my solution and just hit my number, instead of figuring out, like, hey, like, if I actually know about the companies that I'm reaching out to, I will hit my number by osmosis, and I'm going to prepare myself for being a real salesperson at the end of the day. Because if you don't know what someone's value is and, like, what they're looking for, then your message isn't going to resonate. And you got to think about all the thousands and thousands of SDRs that are reaching out. You got to be unique. So I think another thing that I learned is that, as I kind of grew from an SDR to team lead to SDR manager, is that you have to be unique. My unique thing was that, I created the SDR Chronicles, and obviously, kind of rode off of that, but you don't have to do that. I think, you can always create some new type of cadence, and maybe Vidyard video. I started using that as well. You can start creating your own personalized emails. You can start off an intro on your calls differently, but you have to be unique. That's another thing that a lot of SDRs need to understand. You have to understand that there are so many other people doing the same thing as you. Like, you're going to get the same results, which is most of the people don't get results because they send the same thing over and over again. So you have to be unique in your approach, and you have to understand that, like, people actually really want value in this marketplace, because we're definitely in a different time right now where people can find information if they want to, but finding that real value is very tough for people to articulate, and that's where the real breaking point is.
Awesome. I love it. We're going to take a quick break. Got to pay some bills. We'll be right back with a lot more with Morgan Ingram, who is the host of the SDR Chronicles. We'll be right back. The Sales Pipeline Radio.
Are you having trouble aligning your sales and marketing teams? To see positive results from your sales development efforts, you need to build a repeatable, scalable marketing and sales engine that unites both groups. Work towards common goals as a team, not just an individual. Get the recording for the Modern Marketer's Workshop, Sales Development, the essential building blocks for revenue growth. A fully online, on-demand workshop that includes an interactive workbook, the presentation slides, and templates, all for $195. Visit www.heinzmarketing.com/workshops. That's HEINZ marketing.com, and get started now.
And what I was hoping for now was a little update on the workshop that just took place, I think, yesterday or this week here.
What great timing, Paul. Thank you for the segue. We just finished yesterday our latest live workshop on sales development, a topic that I'm sure that Morgan can appreciate as well. We spent 2 days talking about a sales development framework, which is beyond, includes the critical role of the SDRs, but is beyond that is really sort of an integrated way of sales and marketing thinking together about how to build a predictable, repeatable pipeline of business. Great program, great participants. If you want to learn more about the on-demand version of our sales development Enablement Workshop. You can check that out at heinzmarketing.com. If you like what you're hearing today from Morgan, these are the kind of conversations we have on Sales Pipeline Radio every week. You're would love to have you join us every week live. You can find the schedule at salespipelineradio.com. You can find every past episode of Sales Pipeline Radio on salespipelineradio.com as well. And we would love to have you as a subscriber as well to our podcast, which is basically a replay of each of these episodes as well, available on Google Play and the iTunes Store. Coming up the next few weeks, we got some great guests. Next week, we're going to have Daniel Gauger, who's the CMO of PFL, formerly Print for Less. We're going to talk about including direct mail and tactile marketing as a part of your multi-channel approach to drive leads and engage with your prospects. We got a lot more good conversations coming up around neuromarketing and why Martin Lidstrom thinks that's the next buzzword in B2B. And then we'll be talking about conversational sales presentations, customizing your pitch, customizing your message to each prospect to make sure that it appeals to what they care about. Something that I know, just based on your conversation before the break, Morgan, is important to you. You know, customizing the conversation, standing out from others. The SDR Chronicles is a video series. It's not just audio. It's not the written word. You have a great style with the SDR Chronicles. I encourage people to check it out. Hashtag the SDR Chronicles and go to YouTube and search for SDR Chronicles. You've got a nice style. It's casual. It's approachable. It's fun to watch. Where did that style come from? Is that something that's just you? Is it something you developed specifically for SDR Chronicles? And how has that worked for you?
Yeah, so I love this question, and the style is me, and that's the crazy thing about it is that most people think the video me is going to be different than actual me. And then when people meet me in person, I'm still fired up. They're like, oh, wait, they're like, what's going on? Like, this dude is still fired up from his video. So the thing is, that is actually me in real life. I'm actually that excited. I'm actually that positive. I'm actually that fired up. Previously, I've been doing, some, I guess, motivational speaking, public speaking, from different things. People ask me to kind of give some positive light on things I had done through college and high school. So I had experience speaking in front of people. I actually made videos through Facebook because it's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy giving people the positivity to go out there and do it, and I also enjoy giving people advice to better their life, just like someone gave me advice to better my life and to kind of be focused and locked in and intense and do the things I need to do. So that's kind of, I got that from someone else, and I always believe in sitting in that elevator down to help other people. So me in the video, that's my style. I am that energetic. I'm that fired up. I love giving that advice, and I knew that my biggest strength was being on video. I knew that me writing stuff out. I knew me maybe actually doing a real audio podcast did not align with my strengths. But I knew that if I could make a video every single day, and I could be completely comfortable with it, and I know that's really where my personality peaks at the highest. So what I always tell people, people are like, oh, I want to start the next XDR Chronicles. I'm like, don't see it that way. You need to start the next thing that is built on your strengths. And if it's writing, then you probably need to go write. If it's audio, then go have audio. If it is video, then start a video series. But I knew that this was my strength, and I knew strategically, and I knew in my mind that I needed to do this because it was something that resonated with me most to my actual core of who I am.
Now, I know you're passionate about video in general as a communication platform. You use it obviously for the BDR Chronicles. You talked about it earlier. You referenced using Vidyard for your own work as a BDR. Can you talk a little about using video as a way to create connection with prospects? I mean, is this something that is, only best for people that are more outgoing and have the kind of personality and approach that you do, or do you think anybody who's in sales can leverage video to their advantage?
It's anybody. You definitely don't have to be jacked up to do this. There's a lot of my reps that use Vidyard video and other video outreach tools that are out there. They utilize this, and they are seeing results. The reason for that is because it's creating humanity with that prospect, and that prospect's able to see that face. They're able to see the eyeballs, and they're able to connect. That's a real person, and they're actually giving me value. Yes, I want to connect. And you really have to think about it again, like I talked about earlier, how many SDRs are actually making videos. There's really not a lot. So at the end of the day, when you figure out there's not that many SDRs making that many videos, then you're okay, cool. I need to do that. And even if you're super bubbly, super excited, super serious, as long as you're providing value to that prospect, that's going to connect because it creates humanity. So I believe across the board, video is great. A lot of my reps use it for their follow-ups. A lot of my reps use it to actually like talk about a case study that we recently released. But these videos are going to create just massive opportunity for you because it's just that entry point that a lot of people are currently not using.
Awesome. Talking today on Sales Pipeline Radio with Morgan Ingram, who is a manager of sales development at Terminus in Atlanta. Also the host of the SDR Chronicles, talking about video, talking about SDR best practices. And, one of the things I'm curious, related to your experience managing inside sales reps, but also based on some of the content that you have featured in the SDR Chronicles around organization and keeping yourself organized. Adding video is another thing. Adding social is a whole other thing. It feel like we're asking our reps to do more to sort of build their brand and to help themselves stand out. But those things take time. How do you help your reps balance these additional channels and additional opportunities with still managing their time and getting enough done?
Yeah, it really comes down to time management and getting yourself prepared to do the activities that you need to do, and also understanding what do you actually want to do, right? Because I don't really believe that every single person should be creating content. That really doesn't really make sense to me at the end of the day. I just don't believe in that because most people are not really prepared to do that, and they're going to be overwhelmed with creating content that they're actually not hitting the numbers they need to hit. So what I focus on is that, you need to use LinkedIn more, you need to use Twitter more, is it video? I really try to figure out, what is something that you're really strong at, and let's maximize that channel. I do believe, obviously, that you have to call and email to access multiple channels to get in front of your prospects, but it's way more important to figure out what you're actually excited about and teach you more about that. So there's some reps that I have that are really, really good at video, and they are strong on video, and they will stay with video, and that's awesome. Or there's some people who are really, really strong at focusing on, hey, look, I know how to engage people on Twitter, and then I'm going to grow from there. But it really depends. I think you have to be hyper focused for each individual on what they're going to do, and then basically see the results they're getting from that. And basically, when a rep that's super successful at something, you replicate that process and you show other reps how to do it so that they don't have to go in the weeds and figure out themselves. So each rep has a very strong suit that they have on the team, and basically you're going to utilize that resource. So you got to see it as sports. Football, you're not going to have your wide receiver throw the football, and you're not going to have your quarterback be the running back, right? That doesn't make any sense. So I see it as each rep on my team, someone's really good at video, so that person who's good at video is going to teach the other reps. I have someone who's really good at LinkedIn, they're teaching the other reps. And I have someone who's really good at Twitter interaction, so they're teaching the other reps. And that way, it saves time, it saves resources. The people that are doing the best, they're excited about that. And so now everyone's learning everything as a team, and you now have a tool belt to use to get your prospects. So it's not more so overwhelming. It's more so what you need to be successful, which is that array of tools to get out there and get it.
So let's say we put you in front of a room full of Georgia business graduates, people that are just graduating from business school or just graduating from Georgia in general and looking to start their career. What can you tell them about sales? What would you tell them, given what you now know, what you've done, what you've learned about sales and the value of sales as something to do in the start of a career?
It's going to be one of those things that at the beginning you're going to be very frustrated with, but in the long term you're going to be so satisfied that you did it. I believe that with 100% of my heart. I believe, at least in the SDR role, I believe I could do any position at this point and be comfortable with it, because the mental toughness that you gain from going through the grind every single day is going to pay dividends whenever management role you go into, whether you want to start a company, whether you're leading a team of 100 people. That mental toughness that you learn in the SDR role or in a sales role is just paramount and very crucial, because of the amount of stress that carries weight to each position that obviously grow into. And so I would just tell people, hey, look, if you want to be a person that's be successful, if you want someone who's you're never going to be counted out, you need to go into sales. Because if you could sell something, then you never really be counted out, because that's the lifeblood of everything, is obviously generating revenue and generating pipeline and generating opportunities. So I would just tell people, hey, if you really want to be successful, if you want to be basically learn the skill sets of how to really communicate with people and really negotiate, which is the forefront of everything we really do in this world, sales is for you. And that's what I tell people even when they ask me this question, is that you really have to be focused on what is sales going to do for you in the long term, not just hey, what's this going to do for me in this year? It's the long-term skills that you learn in this position that I feel like in most positions you do not learn.
Boy, a name and a personality to watch in the next several years. Morgan Ingram, appreciate you joining us on Sales Pipeline Radio today. If you want to learn more about Morgan, you should follow him on Twitter, Morgan J Ingram. If you want to learn more about the SDR Chronicles, I would recommend you follow that as well at SDR Chronicles or youtube.com/the SDR Chronicles. Real quick before we wrap up, Morgan, what's your prediction for the Bulldogs this year?
The Bulldogs. They're always stressing me out, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like any Atlanta team, I make a prediction and they just stress me out. My prediction this year is that we will make it to the SEC championship. We're gonna make it. We're going to make it.
All right, I've got that on record. We got that recorded, Paul. It's always dangerous when you ask an SEC football fan to quickly tell us about their team in the preseason, but Morgan did a great job, clearly. All right, so Morgan, really appreciate you joining us today. Definitely check out Morgan. Check out the SDR Chronicles. If you're in B2B marketing, check out Terminus as well. They've got some great tools for people doing account-based marketing. Join us every week. Join us next week, Thursday, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific. If you like what you hear and you like the idea of hearing more stories like this, more great interviews, check us out on salespipelineradio.com or subscribe to the podcast on Google Play and the iTunes Store. We'll see you next week. Thanks very much for my beautiful and warm producer, Paul. This is Matt Hines. We'll see you next week on Sales Pipeline Radio.
Always staying warm as I warm up to the idea of building a sales pipeline with Matt Hines on Sales Pipeline Radio.